Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. It's me, Alejandro Mendoza, or the Nerd Chicano. Either way how you say it, it's all good here. And we're back again for another review on the channel as we look at our new box set that we're going to be covering for the next 3 weeks. Of course, we completed our journey through Krzysztof Kieslowski's Decalogue that was brought to you by the Criterion Collection last week. And today we're continuing on with another Criterion Collection box set as we look at Pier Paolo Pasolini's The Trilogy of Life. Yeah, so I'm really excited to get into this because Pier Paolo Pasolini is somebody who I really am interested in when it comes to his films. His visual language and thematic language interests me a lot. I am very put off. I've been very captivated by the work that I've seen from him, like Mama Roma, and oddly enough, I was captivated to an extent with his last film, Salo, or the 120 Days of Sodom. It is a very grotesque film, but a lot of what's trying to be said was interesting to me, and it made me want to pursue more of the thematic challenges and messages that Pier Paolo Pasolini includes within his movies. And of course, we're going to be talking about this set. So today we're going to be talking about the Decameron. The next week we'll talk about the Canterbury Tales, and then the final week will be devoted to his third film in this set, Arabian Nights. But before we can get into any of that wonderful stuff, I would like to remind you all to please subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, please leave a like as well. And when you're subscribing, make sure you press that beautiful notification bell so that way you don't miss a single piece of content that comes to the channel. Of course, if you want to lend a helping hand, I do have a Patreon that gives you access to some cool exclusives and early access to videos like this one and my Friday reviews. But of course, now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and look at the packaging for this set from the Criterion Collection. So this is the cover. This is going to be one of those sets that I won't actually be able to show you all of it, because there is some nudity here, and I don't want my channel to be taken away by, to be taken down. This is the spine right here. So this is spine number 631, but the films are 632, 633, and 634. So that's the spine. That was the spine. And then the top here has some, images too. And then there's images down here too. Really interesting set with the way it's designed. So it opens like this. So you have a booklet right here, and let me see if I can, show you some of these pictures, because some of them won't be okay. Yeah, well, here are some of them. Like, it's, you have your essays in here, you have your transfer notes, you have a lot of things. There's a lot of nudity in this, so I can't actually show it to you, but there are some interesting images in this booklet. But yeah, you get a pretty nice little booklet with this set. And then you get the first film here. You get the Decameron. Get, all that's included in this film, and you get all that wonderful stuff that usually comes with Criterion. And this is different than a lot of the times that I've bought films from Criterion, because this one actually has chapters here. It actually tells you, like they used to do it back in the DVD days of saying what parts of the films are there. And you have a Blu-ray disc right here. Let me just go ahead and check if the back of this is actually safe to show on YouTube. So this is the disc right here for the Decameron, and this is the back design. It's actually not bad to show. Not terrible, but I hope I don't get in trouble with this. And then the next one in the set is the Canterbury Tales, but I can't show you what's there because it is nudity, and yeah, try my best here. And then this is the back of that. You have your spine, like always. Yeah, open it up, and it's the same thing. You have your chapters here, and you have your Blu-ray disc. This is the Blu-ray disc for the Canterbury Tales. And this is the back of the art, the back art for the Canterbury Tales. Looks really nice. And of course, the final one here is Arabian Nights. So I'll show you the back first. And I'm going to try to cover this up because I definitely cannot show you this. But then this is the front with the spine. And then this is the back art with the chapters as well. And then this is the disc for Arabian Nights. It's a Blu-ray disc. So that's the packaging for the Trilogy of Life from Pier Paolo Pasolini from the Criterion Collection. It's really nice packaging. I love the way that they kind of put it into like, you know, its own like separate covers and stuff. I love when Criterion does that. I know that they did that for another one that I own, the Cocker Trilogy from Abbas Kiarostami. I love when they do that stuff. So it's definitely a nice packaging. So let's go ahead and get into our first film, which is his 1971 film, The Decameron. So let's go ahead and look at this nice little introduction here from Criterion on Criterion.com. It is also on the back in that separate casing for the Decameron. Pier Paolo Pasolini weaves together a handful of Giovanni Boccaccio's 14th century moral tales. In this picturesque free-for-all, the Decameron explores the delectations and dark corners of an earlier and as the filmmaker saw it, less compromised time. Among the chief delights are a young man's exploits with a gang of grave robbers, a flock of randy nuns who sin with a strapping gardener, and Pasolini's appearance as a pupil of the painter Giotto, at work on a massive fresco. One of the director's most popular films, The Decameron, transposed to Naples from Boccaccio's Florence, is a cutting takedown of the pieties surrounding religion and sex. So on this disc, you do get a new digital restoration with uncompressed Montenegro soundtrack on the Blu-ray. On the Decameron, a new visual essay by film scholar Patrick Rumble. The Lost Body of Albec, 2005, a 45-minute documentary by Roberto Chiesi about a lost sequence from the Decameron. Via Pasolini, 2005, a 27-minute documentary featuring archival footage of director Pier Paolo Pasolini discussing his views on language, film, and modern society. You get some trailers and, of course, a new English subtitle translation. So this was a really interesting film from Pasolini. I went ahead and I read up, at least on the production-wise stuff, from what he wanted to achieve here, and he did change the area from Florence to Naples, and most of this film is spoken in the Napolini dialect of Italian. He also decided to depict the Decameron more as a black comedy type of film, whereas it really, has its liberties in providing a satirical or more of a commentary on the bourgeoisie that Pasolini felt compromised Italian society, and it's kind of revolved around them for years. The film is filled with a lot of sex, a lot of nudity. It's filled with some very uncomfortable stuff, especially in those first couple of episodes, but it is also woven together in the way that a book is kind of read, and that was one of the things that I found most captivating by the Decameron, is that these vignettes really kind of travel together. There's no fade out and fade in into these new stories. They kind of continue after the cut, which makes the film feel exactly like stories in a book. You turn the page and you're on the next story. There is no fade out into the next story. So I felt that to be such an interesting part of the Decameron. I love the visual language of this film, the way that really Pasolini started to work towards the style that he would film Salo or the 120 Days of Sodom, where he let the camera be a little off frame. He let there be a lot of headroom to some of his close-ups, and making his close-ups feel like wide shots, if anything. I found that to be really interesting, and I think it makes for an uneasy way to watch this film, because on one hand you're laughing, But on the other hand, you have visual language in this film that makes you kind of feel uneasy and uncomfortable because of the way that it's framed. Nonetheless, I like this film, but I don't think I'd go as far to say that I like it more or I find it more interesting than films like Mama Roma or Salo or the 120 Days of Sodom. I found this film to be really interesting. The pace is actually really good for a movie that is like almost at 2 hours long. I found myself to like strapped into the ride of this film, and I found myself not being bothered by its pace because it went well with what it was trying to say. I just felt some of the stories weren't as strong as the other ones, and I felt that it wasn't on the level of some of his earlier or later work. But of course, Pasolini always manages to captivate me, and he did it once again within this film, and his commentary on the way that we kind of view sex and the way that we view the human body and how it's all been tied to this religion that we've all been subjugated to and been passed through generations, and we've been stuck in the past in how we view how we're supposed to move forward as a society. Now, let's talk about the restoration. So this is a digital restoration. I watched this on my Panasonic 4K player on a TCL 4K TV, so it was upscaled to about almost 4K, not native 4K, but it's higher than 1080p. I must say that I really like this restoration, and I like the way that the colors were given the chance to pop more on screen. I felt that the film stock that was probably used to film this movie was very natural. So it gives you a color palette that feels a lot more natural. It doesn't feel too green, it doesn't feel too red, it doesn't feel too blue. It has a very interesting way that it's kind of developed, and it looks just like pretty much real life looks. And the colors are very vibrant, and the regrading probably helped a lot with bringing out a lot of that color. Of course, the grain is still there, and it looks fantastic because it should still be there. You can clean up those messes and the cuts and, scratches and hisses in the film, but, you should always preserve what made the film before. And I found that to be a wonderful part of this digital restoration. Of course, the resolution isn't the most sharp, but it is pretty good for what I was able to watch on my TV. And it actually really helped with having to bring out some of the details in the back of this film, in the background and the foreground. I found myself just really enjoying looking at the scenery of Italy, like trees, plants, and the sun and water, as it just kind of continues on in this film. And it's just really, really strong video work from the lab that developed this, the lab that did this restoration of the Decameron. And I pretty much feel the same way when it comes to the audio as well. It's wonderful restoration. It's very balanced with dialogue, sound effects, and the score, which is a wonderful score that I really, really enjoyed as well, using some songs as well. But yeah, I can't really say much about this soundtrack. It's pretty good. I don't think it was bad at all. I think they did a great job of being able to bring out a good, uncompromised mono soundtrack, and everything sounds crisp and clean. It doesn't sound like it's being spoken into a tin can like some films. It's good audio restorative work, and it fits well with the video, which means that this is a good restoration. And I'm really excited to see how the rest of this set plays with the two films that we have left after this one. But of course, if you want to go ahead and connect with me on social media, make sure you follow me at The Nerdy Chicano on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and on Letterboxd and Serialized. I'm pretty much the same username on all of those. Of course, you can also keep up to date with the Nerdcore. We've been covering a lot of festivals. There's a lot of cool stuff that's going on in the Nerdcore, so please go check out the website, thenerdcore.com, and check out all that wonderful stuff that we do, like on Twitch and on YouTube. And next week, we're going to go ahead and continue on with this set as we look at the Canterbury Tales. But of course, my friends, it's been a fun time. I've been enjoying talking about this film with you all. Let me know what you guys think about the Decameron. Let me know what you guys think about the films of Pier Paolo Pasolini and his work, not just as a director, but as a poet and as an author. But without further ado, my wonderful, renowned cinephiles and scholars, celebrate the love of cinema today, tomorrow, and every day after. Catch you all in the next one, guys.